We can survive change.
Yeah.
We can all do it. But what is more surprising now is that it catches us by surprise because of the speed of it.
But unless we prepare for it, right? And that's where Bernard comes in. So in your book, you talk about how we can prepare ourselves and our children for what's coming, for the age of AI. And you mention, and it's something that really stood out to me as a dad of a young child, that it's important for our children to learn the right things.
That's correct.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I can try. It's a very hard question.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And even harder is the work of educators today. Educators have to equip children with tools, concepts, material that will need to remain valid, relevant, and useful for the next 20 years until they complete school and universities, and hopefully afterwards, right? Essentially, we ask educators to prepare children for jobs which may very well not exist today.
Yeah.
And for a future which is highly uncertain, right? The one thing we can anticipate, however, is that artificial intelligence will probably play a role which will be even more important than today, maybe a dominant role. And you don't want to compete with AI. If you are on a construction site today, you wouldn't want to compete with a crane when it comes to lifting heavy material, right? You don't want to compete with a memory stick when it comes to memorizing terabytes of information. And if you want to travel fast and quickly, you will not want to compete with airplanes. So the same holds true with artificial intelligence. There is an increasing number of domains and fields where artificial intelligence simply outperforms humans. And we have to take this into account and strategize and adapt, as you were saying.
Yeah.
So, in my view, with regards to artificial intelligence, there are really three things children and even grown-ups should learn. First of all, we should learn to use artificial intelligence because, after all, it's going to be extremely beneficial to society. This is why we created it in the first place. We should also learn to protect from it because it is a very powerful general purpose technology, and like this type of technology, it's always double-edged, double-sided, and we need to exercise caution. And we must also learn to differentiate from it. Why? Because one of the promises of artificial intelligence is precisely to take the machine out of the human so that the humanity in us can blossom, but you have to nurture it. So how do we learn all of this? I introduced a framework which I called the 21st Century Compass. As a compass, it helps us navigate, really, the new world. It's an education referential. This is how I put it. At the center of the compass, the core, we have the ability to learn. Because learning to learn in an environment that is rapidly changing is a key capability. At the bottom of the compass, you will find foundational knowledge, literacy, numeracy, digital literacy. Digital literacy is not coding. It's the ability to use wisely digital tools, including artificial intelligence. On the sides of the compass, you will find two sets of skills. One is the cognitive skills, including critical thinking to help us decide, what to think and what to do. Creative thinking, because a new world requires new solutions. And interdisciplinary thinking, because the subjects, as we sometimes learn them at school and university, they're just too narrow to reflect the complexity of the world and to help us comprehend it. And on the other side, the non-cognitive skills, sometimes referred to as social-emotional skills, include, for instance, resilience, our ability to bounce back, after setback. Empathy, because the capability to spot and to properly respond to someone's feelings is the foundation of a human relationship. And then you have collaborative skills, because in today's world, nothing comes out just of a singular effort. And last, the needle of the compass points to what I call the moral north. There's ethics, which really delimits the roads that we are willing to take or that we find are acceptable to take. And we have purpose, which helps us define the mission that we think we have on Earth. And this is particularly important in times of uncertainty and instability. So this is my version of the 21st century compass. There's some overlap with what many people call 21st century competencies.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
in my mind, this is what children should learn, and it's definitely not what they learn at school in general.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely different from what they're learning today, right? So that's a very interesting thing to note.